Hey guys, I'm back with a video in the sunny woods. I'm gonna try and stay in the light as much as I can, but there's shadows everywhere because of the trees. Anyways, I think Howdy did an interview recently, very interesting. About his new book, and I had some thoughts that I wanted to share of my own, kind of tying into a little bit what he said, which his main point was that. So, you know, the Buddhist, right? The monks, the enlightened people, let's say. And what do we define these enlightened people as? Well, usually people that have kind of seen beyond their ego structure, their complex identity structure, and have taken the mask off. Or if they've left it on, they've seen who they really are, and they choose to embody more of their spirit, right? They choose to create kind of that hierogamic union within, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well in the video. But they may not be aware of what is happening, right? May not be fully aware of the structure going on around us with all these entities, with reincarnation, which, by the way, before I forget, I was watching this Dragon Ball Z episode, okay, and it's the older ones, the Dragon Ball Z Kai. So this is when Majin Vegeta is fighting Buu, right, and Goku. First of all, he's got an M on his freaking forehead, which is similar to a tattoo, right? It's an insignia, it's a marking. M equals 13. 13 is about the Matrix. Majin means of jinn or of demons, right? So there could be a very strong correlation with tattoos, especially butterfly tattoos, right? They're imprinted on people, they're marked. The demons inside them are kind of pushing them towards these markings, like, hey, mark yourself, I own this part of you, right? In a sense, maybe not, but that's what I think. That's my theory. Anyways, he's fighting. He's about to sacrifice himself to save the earth by blowing himself up and incinerating this Buu fellow. And he asks, will he see Goku in the other world, right? And he asks Piccolo. Piccolo's like, no, you're actually gonna go to the place where they'll purify your being. They'll essentially burn it, right, like hell, and then you'll be regenerated into a new being, a new soul, and then you'll come back here. So, and then we know kind of what happens in the astral heavens, right, where people are allowed to kind of recoup, regenerate, recalibrate their being, and then they get sent back. So I think that's a very big piece of evidence in terms of the intent of both sides of these matrices, the heaven and the hell matrix. It's not to damn them to eternity or bless them for eternity, right, like they say in the Bible. It's really to either punish and then purify and then reincarnate, or to kind of compensate, still purify, reincarnate, right? So it's rather less of a purification and more of an extraction of energy, right? Okay, all the demons are going to extract this negative energy from you, poof. All the angelic demons are going to extract this positive energy from you, and then back you go into a new case, right? A new soul body. Anyways, where was I before this? We talked about that. Yeah, so Howdy was making the point of that these monks, right, these beings are enlightened. They've essentially shed all or integrated almost all of their ego, but probably not 100%, because once they get into that final reincarnation loop, or maybe they go through a life review, they still seem to identify with the things that they did in their life, or they don't quite grasp the fact that these angelic beings, these nirvana-like beings, right, are not what they seem, right? There's this false like construct, this these egregores, right? And then they themselves get reincarnated, even though they were enlightened, because maybe they're convinced like, oh, since you're so enlightened, now you get to be a bodhisattva, and you go back to earth and help people be enlightened like you. Or, you know, that maybe they're so happy that like they achieved enlightenment, and like, yeah, I got to heaven, right? And then they trick them with the heavenly matrix, like, here, you deserve it, you earned your spot among the gods, right, up in heaven. So I thought the point Hadi was making was really good, because neither the Soul Trap group nor the Enlightenment group, which you could even put New Age in that, but they're nowhere close to like Enlightenment. I think it's just a faux enlightenment, right? It's more of an spiritual trap, right? Spiritual ego trap. But these beings, you know, these monks, they're truly at peace, truly kind of secluded themselves and worked on themselves, worked on their hierogamic union, although they don't possess the knowledge and awareness of what is happening like this, you know, the Soul Trap group does. And again, I may be biased as a Life Path 7. I never fully align with one belief system or idea. I always try to split it down the middle and see what's, you know, and form my own opinion. And maybe Howdy's like that as well, but I do think that there's a great point in that, because, you know, even if you know about the Soul Trap, well, you don't know, or the Soul Trick, you don't really know what to do because of it, like how to not come back. You can say, yeah, I just won't come back, right? But you don't really know what's on the other side. You don't really know what's waiting for you. Although intent can be very strong, like I've mentioned in other videos, right? Yet there does seem to be this need for the hierogamic union, which essentially includes the need for, you know, alleviation of trauma, working on yourself, integration or separation, if you want to consider it, of this ego, choosing not to identify with it anymore. And by doing so, it means your actions have to match your intent, right? Otherwise, it's just kind of a thought that you created for yourself. And, you know, if you're just solely focused on like mental awareness, mental knowledge, gathering as much knowledge as you can, it can only take you so far, right? Because you're still seeking outside of yourself and you're not doing the work within, first of all, right? But they do go hand in hand, right? The more work you do, the more knowledge you can hold, the more gnosis you can have. And let's discuss this idea of gnosis, which will bring me to this hierogamic union idea, which is gnosis is knowing, right? In the Bible, knowing, when you knew someone, that meant you had sex with them. So now if we turn that inwards, that inner gnosis that is created is when the male and female counterpart within, those two have sex, they unite, right? They are now integrated, right? They're not separate. So, you know, for me specifically, there was a large feminine wound. There maybe still is a large, not large, but yeah, I'm working on it. In which was, you know, kind of bestowed upon me by my father, because I was made to feel like I was too sensitive, or I was too prone to, I don't know, crying, or just I needed to be more of a man, right? And many of you, of the listeners on this channel, may have that trauma from either side, whether it's in the feminine or the masculine, right? One part of us was shunned, was suppressed, and we were forced to go into the other part, and that tipped the pendulum, that tipped the scales to be out of balance. And when you're out of balance, you're traumatized, you're pierced, okay? Because now you can't fully embody both sides of you. Now one side has to be out of alignment, out of authenticity, so you can't be your true self. You can't embody gnosis, which means you can't know who you fully are, right? And that's where the shadow work, whatever the trauma work comes in which you have to understand and do something about that. You have to intend to re-allow that. You have to it's like a shattering of belief systems. Like, okay, being feminine is weak. You hold that belief subconsciously. Then you realize, like, oh wait, I've been suppressing that way. Maybe it's not weak to be like that. Maybe it's not less courageous or in any way to show any sort of emotions, right? To really tap into your emotions. And it's not about being fully feminine either. It's not about like just turning into a woman or just being much more compassionate and loving with everyone, because then you just fall into like a toxic femininity as well, right? We talked about this before. But it is about understanding that to be yourself is the most courageous thing you can do, to fully be yourself, regardless of anyone's opinion, right? Regardless of what others may think and tell you, and try to force other beliefs down your own throat. But if that true Sophianic principle is within us, it can then birth that Christ principle, that spirit, to fully come in, to fully integrate and play out in this life, right? And by having that, then you can then hold more knowledge, hold more awareness, gain more insights about these spiritual realms. You start activating, let's say, your other latent abilities, right? Dragon Ball Z, for example, it's a very interesting show because I think it talks about a lot of the entities that are around us. You have the Jinn, you have the Super Saiyans, which are Aryans. They turn blonde with green eyes, literally, and they have this auric field around them, right? And I think maybe we could do something like that. They teach regular humans on Earth how to fly, how to manipulate their energy so that it shoots downwards or shoots out, and they're able to levitate and then fly, right? They can shoot energy out of their hands. I don't know, it's an anime, I get it, but there's many truths in them, and I do think we have these powers within us. Not saying necessarily that we need to become like gods among men here, right, with all these powers. That's, again, another ego trap. I'm just saying we have the ability to see these things around us affecting us that may be trying to suppress us, right? Again, Carlos Castaneda talks about our light body being at our feet, literally at our heels, and we need to build that up. We need to build up that energy source because it's constantly being depleted by the predator, as he calls it, right? And this predator, again, can embody both negative and positive beings. But if you're a battery and you're constantly being put in the remote, then you're gonna be depleted. Your source, your energy is gonna go into that remote. Whereas if you separate yourself, if you contain your own energy, maybe not the battery, but you can recharge it. You can be at full power again, right? So that's mainly what I wanted to share. And then I guess another point would be kind of how to fully be happy here once you realize these things from the soul trick idea. Then you have to let go of it. Essentially, it's like, okay, I know it, but then I can't just constantly seek more of it either. Whatever information comes to me will come to me. But there's these things that happen around us, like MyLabs, like abductions, like SSPs, and these things are happening around us. And I have a theory that, however real they may actually be to people that are getting especially abused and abducted and messed with at night, at the end of the day, they're still part of the illusion. Just like Howdy makes, the point Howdy makes, where he says, if you don't realize that you yourself are also part of the illusion as much as everything around you, then you're still stuck in this matrix. You're still caught in its trick, because your body, your causal body, etheric form, your astral body, they're as much as a part of these illusions as these beings outside are, or as the physical matrix that you can see outside is. Because your body, your stuff is made up of the same stuff as that. It's the same, they say it's one electron vibrating, but whatever, it's the same light, right? That's condensed into to matter, it seems. So these beings, these Greys, these Aryans, these whatever, the Draconians, whoever rules this earth, they are also part of this very illusion, in my opinion. Whether some of them have sparks or not is a different question. But that spark, that true essence of origin, where we actually come from, that's what's real, right? And that could be projecting all of this. It could not even be in our own bodies. I don't know. Maybe it is. I'm just theorizing here. But I have this theory that, like, if we're in this tug of war with these entities, right, and we're trying to pull back for our sovereignty, and they're trying to pull towards them for their control, well, you don't have to win the tug of war. You just have to let go of the rope, and you're not fighting anymore, and they can't fight you either. It seems what the New Age gets right, at least, is that what you resist does persist. Now, I'm not saying give in to them either, but there is a way to not play their game, and that goes along with that hierogamic union. Carlos Castaneda says the same thing. I think, Christ says the same thing, that once you stop identifying with these beings, once you create that hierogamic union within, you don't even need to fast anymore. You don't need to meditate anymore. You don't need to protect yourself in any way anymore, because there's nothing to protect, and you realize that, and they can't even see you anymore. You literally do not exist to them anymore, because there's no energy, potentially. There's nothing to gain from you. So it's like you've completely tapped into your true existence, and now maybe at some point you don't even exist here anymore, because there's nothing false tied to you anymore, right? So you essentially, I don't know, you disappear. That's I guess what the theory suggests. But nothing false or nothing true can exist in this false matrix. And that's why I theorize maybe the spark is not even here. It's just projecting this falsity, right? This mental awareness in some way. So that's my theory in regards to all of these abduction scenarios, which are very real, don't get me wrong. I know plenty of people that go through all this stuff, and I'm not trying to invalidate anything they go through. It's definitely abusive and parasitic, at least. But I think that it's part of the game. Again, it's the same war between the good and the bad, the angelic and the demons, right? And many people say, hey, we're gonna ascend to this higher timeline, and we're gonna save the earth, or we're gonna help Sophia, or we're gonna change the matrix, or take it down, or whatever. I mean, you could, or you could just choose not to play the game anymore, right? You could choose not to be a part of this matrix anymore. I'm not trying to change the horror movie into a comedy. I would like not to be an actor anymore. That's very simple, right? So something to think about, guys. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.